Good evening, everyone, to our, for this year, last installment of the HL International Graz Meetup. Today already had a discussion with our speaker, a special one, because it's the first time we talk about a very important role in HL software development, QA. But before we start, there is, wait, because not working. Now it's working. There are some housekeepings. First of all, very important, we are taking pictures throughout this meetup. In case anyone doesn't want to be on any pictures, feel free to approach us, and we take care that you will be removed from the pictures which get published, or some get published and some don't. Then we are also recording. That's actually a good hint. It's time to record the session as well. We are recording this presentation, just that everyone can also listen to it afterwards. We'll publish it usually also on YouTube. And for the sake of the hybrid meetups, we will use Slido for Q&A sessions. You can already see here our QR codes, and we will also share it later on the audience remote. And if you have any questions, our speaker will gladly answer them after the session in a Q&A session. Which brings us to the agenda for today. First, we will start with this short introduction and also an introduction of our host. So we are here right now. And then we have the presentation of our speaker. Then we will have the Q&A session. And afterwards, we will continue on with remote and on-site meeting networking part. Interesting. I don't know how to handle that clicker. Let's start with the topic. So today is a very nice topic, as mentioned in the QA section, from bottleneck to backbone. That's the journey for 13 years of quality assurance in practice. And our speaker is today Niklas Meyer, who will present this. And our hosts, our lovely hosts tonight, once again, Dynatrace will take good care of us, that we have this amazing audio setup for the remote participants, but also for everyone on site. I guess it's a great room to be. And for the people on site, you will have afterwards also the possibility for some snacks and some drinks. As promised, here once again, the Slido, please scan. And that's it for now. I will hand over to Jelena, who will take care of the part of the host today. And she will give a short introduction. So thank you.
Very short, I promise. So, hello everyone, welcome this time in front of Dynatrace. So some of you are used to seeing me in the role of a HL International Graz organizer, and today I'm actually having these both hats. So being an organizer, but also being here to welcome you from the Dynatrace office to this meetup, and just to give you a brief introduction about the company you are currently sitting or joining, zooming in. Somewhere else. So who heard about Dynatrace before? So who used Dynatrace before? Like, okay, a bit slightly less. Yeah, I'm sorry for the interaction part that remote participants I don't see, but I'm still curious about your experience with Dynatrace, and maybe in the mingling part we can also touch on that. So what I want to mention is that Dynatrace, even if you don't use it, probably is somewhere around you. So Dynatrace is a software company that is supporting many other companies, making sure that their softwares are working good. So here we have a situation of someone's at the airport and trying to figure out when is the flight leaving, and basically there is a bug in the software and they are like getting nervous, not knowing which gate to go to and so on. And basically to avoid such situations, Dynatrace is running in the background and making sure that those bugs are caught early, that they are resolved, and that the basically end user has the most seamless experience possible. So that's a general story. When it comes to the specifics, when it comes to the mission of Dynatrace, we deliver answers and intelligent automation from data. So there is a lot about data, and for that, the quality is super important. So I'm also happy to have such important topic being spoken today. The purpose of Dynatrace is to ensure flawless and secure digital interactions. So security is also the part that we deeply care about. And a keyword here would also be flawless. So the idea is, and the vision is, we have a world where software works perfectly. And I think all of us kind of feel that pain in a daily life when we want to buy something, it's not working, or we simply want to finish something online digitally and it's stuck, and therefore Dynatrace is working on this vision to make sure that that doesn't happen. When it comes to values, these are the core Dynatrace value: innovate with passion, engage with purpose, and win with integrity. I will not go too deep into that because it's I think the words are very strong and speak enough, and but something you need to also feel it in the company, and I hope that at least tonight, in being in this office, you can at least get a glimpse of it. So that's at least my wish. When it comes to history, I don't want to bore you with these details. Maybe what's personally kind of significant also to mention is that we celebrated 20 years exactly this year. We had a wonderful Austrian-wide party beginning of December, and we are proud of the development of the company. We reached over 5,000 people and 1.7 billion in ARR. And when it comes to also customers, we are serving or trying to resolve problems of more than 4,000 customers around the globe, and we have people and offices in more than 60 locations. Important part, it's the people part, and why is it mentioned here? Because you are part of it. You are here to feel our people, or at least the environment our people work in, and we are also very much proud to invest into the community, to invest into knowledge sharing, and to connect the minds and spread the ideas around. That's something I would wish you to take away with. And when it comes to the Graz office, I'm coming to the end. It opened 6 years ago. We had 2 offices so far. It was not easy setup for a while, but then in September last year, we opened this magnificent office, and we are able to have more than 200 Dynatracers working here. Right now, we have a bit less, so we have a space for growth. And there are various business units operating in the Graz office, and we keep growing in the future as well. And for that, also, in case some of you might be interested in checking out our open positions, or also Kununu and Glassdoor for comments about how is it to work at Dynatrace, here you can scan the codes and also find us on the social media. That would be it from me. Thank you very much. I wish you a lovely meetup and looking forward to mingle later. Handing over to Niklas.
So, hello everyone. Hope you can understand me loud and clear. Like Jelena said before, seems like I'm the first person who speaks here from the QA department. So thank you for this opportunity. Believe me, I'm not here to educate you or want to, I don't know, punish you from that perspective. No, it's about my experience with my basically, let's say, life within a project, which now takes 13 years until now. I wanted to share with you my personal involvement throughout that time, because I started as a young boy, let's say, and until now. Yeah, I hope that you maybe can take with some insights from that time and from my learnings, and yeah, so that you have an easier life on your end, I would say. Yeah, a small overview about the agenda. I will try to give a more not that strict good old days versus modern age. What has changed in between, my personal involvement during that time, and in the end, my personal learnings and some key takeaways that hopefully stick to your head at the end. A small overview that you know what I'm talking about. Basically, the customer that I was working with is an Austrian company. They had a digital transformation at the beginning when we started. The revenue they had, so the point in sales was way higher than the online shop. And with our with the timeline we had, this switched around, especially with Corona. Everything went to online. So the priority shifted quite a lot during the time. At the beginning, it was like, hey, okay, it's something we try, and now it's basically the main thing they're doing. Yeah, I started 2012 in the project, so I joined as a tester back then, and team was quite small at the beginning. Throughout the years, we were growing a bit. Last years, we were multi-team setup, and now we're also working together with the devs from customer side. So also the customer side is evolving throughout that time. From framework perspective, we use SAP Commerce. Frontend is a custom-built frontend based on React.js. And yeah, overall, maybe I forgot it, it's e-commerce B2C area, so that you know what I'm talking about in which area. Don't take it too serious. It's a bit of look at it with a wink. Questions later on, I guess, or now. Point of sales, so stores where you can go physically to buy something, not online shopping. The picture basically shows my beginnings. So 13 years ago, it felt a bit like that you have the basically team, development team. So the red shirt guy is a PO. The two persons sitting on the left hand side are the devs. Right hand side is Scrum Master and QAs. And I'm the one below that mountain of paper, which is basically the workload, because it was really the way back then that every sprint and the same topic popped up. QA is too slow. We need more QAs. We need more testers. You are too slow. It's always me. And yeah, this was getting frustrating back then. Yeah, this was the picture back then. And time shift towards now. We still have the PO with the red shirt, a bit younger now, and some devs on the left-hand side, which are not that confident anymore. They're a bit, let's say, confused or hushed away. And the persons back there, I don't wear a suit, but they should represent QA department. We are more like the overseers now. So feels more like that what to do, and the devs are more like, please tell us what to do, and not the other way around. Don't take it that seriously, just a bit of too much in that area. What has changed during the time? So it's 13 years. Definitely not all points, but just some that I recognize for myself. So back then, basically there was just, okay, get the stuff live. Implement something, get it to life, and that's it. There was no such like GDPR, accessibility, security stuff that the last years popped up, like Shai Hulud now. Everything was, let's say, easier back then. So no big deal. Everything was easy, let's say. And today quite a lot of regulations, many things to talk about, think of, etc. Second big point, which was also not that high back then, is the optimizing. So everything needs to be optimized. Everything needs to be faster, leaner, slicker, more in less amount of time. And this is something that is basically telling the speed is key. So also the customer side started to, and you skip something. Meetings are taking too long. Please try to get rid of it. Don't do that. Don't talk to each other. Just implement stuff. That's one point. The next one, the backpack has grown. My personal position, I know back then I just had testing in mind. Now with my new position, I need to be basically expert in everything. So everyone should come to me and ask me questions, and I should be somehow able to answer something. Of course, I cannot answer everything, but it feels like my knowledge has increased quite a lot, and I need to know way more than back then. And it's not just for me, it's also for the devs. Everyone needs to know everything until now. There's no, I don't know, such as expertise that one guy just knows, I don't know, one area. Everyone needs to know everything. And this is basically something that I have seen throughout the years. And as last point, because it was happening quite recently, if you think that you have thought everything, customer will come up and say something new. So we worked everything on quality, have everything, let's say, or we thought that we have everything covered now with quality. Customer comes around and say, we don't think that the quality is good enough. What do we say? What are you talking about? And it's like, yeah, perceived quality is not good enough. What are you talking about? So every time something pops up new, and there is no end, I would say. So that's also something that plays in. So if there is no ending, you just need to go force and force and force. And every time something new pops up, where you have a challenge, you need to go or tackle it or try to tackle it. Let's put it that way. My personal role involvement, so that you know what my path was. So this is basically the beginning. If you remember the first picture, we had a team where basically the devs are in there and PO and Scrum Master. And back then I was called the testing agent. I was just a plus. I was not part of the team. I was just sitting, I don't know, in some other office at the beginning. And basically if devs were done, packages were thrown towards me and was like, okay, please test and tell if everything is fine. Yeah, as you can see, it was quite a lot. Of course, seven devs, just me alone, part-time. How should that work? That was basically the beginning. This shifted throughout time that I'm not part of, or I was team external, and throughout time this shifted to a team internal role. So I was not part of the team. So not someone who is external, you put something towards him. I was really part of the team, and still I am. Plus, my role changed. I was not a testing agent anymore. I was promoted basically towards quality manager, which we call release quality specialist. Plus, the last years I also got the QA coach add-on, which just means that I'm supposed to support other teams around when they are struggling. So I have the freedom to say, okay, I will help them out, or I can help them out if they want to. So this is something that I have in addition. And of course, by this role change, also the focus change. So back then it was all about the sprint. Get things done, get the tickets done. Nothing needs to stay in the testing column at the end. Everything needs to be done. This was the only focus back then. Now, or throughout the time until now, the focus shifted. It's not about the tickets or sprint anymore. It's about the project itself. So not just the tickets aspect, but everything else. So what about sprint planning? What about releasing? What about automation? What about security? What about performance? A lot of questions, everything to think about and to get into one thing at the end so that the package is good enough. Throughout the changes, one thing stayed the same. Back then, I can remember I was sitting on my PC and testing. We just had a release, and a manager came up and asked me, what's the status of quality in your project? I was like, I think good. Just deployed. Just had $5. All good. Why do you ask? Yeah, we have an escalation. Okay. What happened? This situation basically burned into my head. I was like, okay, what did I miss? What I wasn't thinking of. Why is customer complaining? From my perspective, it looks good. And until now, today, the same question is there. Basically, everyone can come to me, or even also myself, come to me and say, okay, what is the status of quality? How can I measure that? How can I say we have a good level now? And this is basically the question that drove me throughout the years. At the beginning, it was just, okay, try to get stuff done. Now it's more. Also, a big image of that. So the beginning, it was really just about bugs and defects, and basically just a feeling how the quality is. So if the PO or if the customer came to me and said, hey, what do you think of quality? It was like, yeah, bugs and defects, this is the level, okay, I think it's good. And now it's really the way around. I personally ask myself the question also already up front, I at least try it, and find ways to answer it. In best case, or at least the tooling that I personally like most is KPIs. This is why you see the image on the laptop there with bars and charts, because I like to quantify or try to quantify aspects of the project or the product itself. And yeah, this is the thing that I'm trying to pursue now since then, and which is basically my Steckenpferd in German. Of course, if you have KPIs, the first question also from customer side is, yeah, okay, I see charts, but they can be prettified or manipulated that it looks good. Let's put it that way. Me personally, I don't think that way. So I don't like to weaponize KPIs, how I call it. And yeah, this is something that I never did, I never tried, and happy to be transparent and show everyone that's the real status, that's what we have. The next thing is there is no single KPI that can tell you what the status of quality is. You need to have every aspect. As I said, performance, it's one value. Security, it's another value. Usability, it's another value. Everything. Many KPIs that together give a picture. So don't put everything into one KPI or try to do it. Put it into branches or paths or areas that will support you to give a bigger picture. And the next question also popped up. It's like, okay, what value do I bring in my role? I'm not implementing something. I don't give value to the customer from that perspective, but I can bring other value. And this is something that I try to achieve with, okay, the things that I try out, implement processes, educate the devs, try to support them with tooling or whatever. There has to be some impact. It needs to be shown somewhere. And if something is tried out, you can see it basically somewhere, at least in my opinion. Might it be negative or positive? You should see some baseline change. And this is what I'm trying to show you now. So we had the reopen ratio. At the bottom, you see those numbers. First digits are the year. So this is since 2018, when you started this KPI, until now, 25. Second one is the sprint number. You see back then, in 2018, we had a lot of troubles, and 19, the reopen rate. Means dev has implemented something, put it into testing, tester said, no, not working. Yeah, devs got, of course, annoyed. It was like, okay, let's try something out. This is basically something that's, so this is the average line, the orange line, and this is where you see this drop, so this baseline drop, something where we tried out a new process. We call it local acceptance, meaning that before the dev is committing anything, he takes a second person or more than one person and tries to challenge the implementation he has. So ask the second person, colleague, whatever, to challenge his implementation, his or her implementation. And this really helped us because since that point in time, the reopen rate dropped quite a lot. But we were not happy enough. So we tried another thing, which is the story championing, which is something that we do beforehand, before implementation. Usually you get the user story from the PO side or whatever, or from customer side, and say, let's try to implement it. But with story championing, we're going a step ahead and challenge the story itself already before starting anything. before the first line of code. This is what storage happening is aiming for, or aiming at. And yeah, this also helped us pushing the boundary. And yeah, since processes are not meant to stick in the same position, we try to optimize this throughout time. And yeah, the third point the third area you can see, it's basically an involvement of the local acceptance, which also supported us in the end to get better. And of course, in the end, you see an increase again, means process might not work as good enough anymore, or something else happened. You need to have a look at that. The second example is the reject or closed rates. So meaning customer creates errors. I need to have a check it, analyze it, see if it's really an error or some misunderstanding. And as you can see, first time or first until 2022, 2020, we also had issues there. So quite a lot of, compared to somewhere in between, a lot of rejects. And the countermeasure was a feature documentation, we call. So not just test reports, but really explain how the feature really works, how to maintain it correctly. So really have a good documentation behind, which helped a lot. And as you can see now, I was a bit surprised too when I looked at this chart now. Effect is wearing off. So something happened. So this process also doesn't work anymore as it should be. So yeah, need to get into there again and see what can be done. Another chart is deployments per year and hotfix ratio. So of course, customer was always pressured, hey, be faster, release faster, get into the groove to deliver fast. And this was basically something that we aimed for. And as you can see, throughout the years, this number rised until a peak. Last 2 years, this year is a bit less. I marked it down there. So 2022 until 2024, we were basically a multi-team setup, so more than one team. Since this year, we're back to one team again. So people left the project. So this is why a bit less deployments we have in this case. But what you can see on the other side, the hotfix ratio means that as soon as we deploy something, soon pops something up that needs to be fixed immediately. So within 1 or 2 days, this is called hotfix in our case. And this year was pretty good. And we see at least a drop with the multi-team setup start. And this has a big, I would say our big connection to our move to headless. So which is meaning that we worked with SAP Commerce before completely, and then went away to our front end, our own front end in that way. And with that, we aimed quite a lot for automation. So many tests were implemented, and it was really a focus, plus something else that I explain later, which helped us a lot in the end. So this year was really great from that perspective. I think this worked out really well. And something else to show that charts might not be the best thing to look at. Left-hand side, errors per sprint. So errors, really an error per sprint means you have the number. Last 2 years were not that good from that perspective, but since we were more people, the factor was basically the same. On the right-hand side, you see the containment rate. This is a value or a KPI that is made up of bugs and defects. Bugs, or let's put it that way, defects are issues that are found in life, bugs everything before. So defects are the bad thing stuff because that hits the life system. Bugs are found before and can be fixed before it goes to life. And the containment rate is basically the ratio between those two. The containment rate of 1 means we contained everything. We only have bugs and no defects. Containment rate of 0 means we just have defects. As you can see, this is decreasing. Not the best trend in here. That's, I would say, something that is connected to the processes we implemented, because we have local acceptance, as you've seen before, which is checking already before the dev commits something. So we don't find the issues, or if we find issues, we find it already on the local machine from the dev and not on the test system. So there is no bug created because it's a reopen or no reopen because the dev is still working on it. Means we are having less bugs in the end, and compared to this, because bugs are getting lower, defect rate is getting higher compared to it. That's something that you can explain by that. But of course, we also have the issue that, as you can see, there's still some like high number compared to bugs where we have defects, so something that we still need to work on and didn't tackle it very good. But the overall amount this year was pretty good. So we can see that our automation efforts worked out quite well. We found a lot before hitting the live system. Okay, same error as before. This was the time when we moved to headless. Yeah. How to support the quality is basically a question, because you see now that only some KPIs are showing into some areas what the impact was. And of course, you have a lot of areas, a lot of KPIs you want to try out or want to look at, but how to make it usable, let's say, how to give it into or put it into a framework that you can work with in the end, because there's a lot of information there, a lot of tools where you want to use, and also a lot of aspects. It's not about just implementing; it's also about releasing. How can we release fast? How we can release secure, etc. There's this point how to get this into something that you can show the customer side. Because how can I personally say, okay, what can I, or what do we do as a team, or at least I try to give the team, what is the effort that I bring towards the customer side to support the quality that we deliver? So to keep the best thing that we have. And this is one thing is to show the complexity. So of course I can say, yeah, quality is something that is pretty hard to reach. If I ask you, everyone will have a different opportunity what quality is. So you think of something else, you will something else, be something else. Different aspects. And to show this, we tried to come up with an idea, which is called in the end QAMLs, which is called Quality Assurance Maturity Levels, I got it. Which try to focus on that. So give an overview of what kind of aspects are there that support the quality we deliver. So we've seen impacts or processes or ideas or action points that have an impact on the quality. Give it a name. This is what we count the maturity levels. And also, not just for my personal usage or in the project itself, but also for other colleagues, other projects in the company, other teams. Maybe they can reuse it, can use the same. Maybe they try and learn from us, or we can learn from others. This is what we are aiming for with those maturity levels. Give an overview of the influencing factors, so have everything visualized in some way. Also support us as a team and the project, and also other projects and team with our company, and in wider range establish a standard. This is something that I was very, very much involved in because I was in the core group of that, and something that I'm still working on, where to evolve it throughout time. And the idea behind this, we have 4 levels at the moment, meaning level 1 to 3, 4. Level 1 is mandatory to be reached. It should be something that every project should reach. Also, of course, our project. And the focus is from manual work or manual reaction to reactive or automated solutions, basically. So from reactive to proactive. And that's the idea behind. And to give you an example behind that, so we have 7 areas: bug and defect management, customer service, defect prevention, etc. With all the 4 levels in there, we have ideas. So for example, local acceptance and performance in this case. For level 1, it's just freestyle for the local acceptance, so really just do it on purpose. So if you really need it, to do it. For level 2, create a guideline in your team. What do you want to do? What needs to be done? And level 3 is basically a living process that is updated throughout time. So not have a static process, but evolve it throughout time with every learning you have from each release, basically. And the same for the load and performance test in this case. First of all, just once before the release, then in the build, and then basically on a daily basis, etc. So have it more and more automated throughout time to get a better support from that perspective. So this is basically the idea behind the maturity levels. The learnings about my role. I started as a testing agent, went through the different phases, let's say, to quality manager and now also the coach perspective. I would say that the role itself is extremely multifaceted. So we have a lot of opportunities to go for. You can go directly to automation, support that deep automation. You can go into the management part, so keep a focus on processes, ideas, how the team works together. So you have a really wide range of ideas or ways to go to put hands on. The thing is, quality is not happening on its own. So you need to invest. You need to be behind. You need to push. You need to go for, be a leader in that directive. So if I would not be there, I don't know if people would have the time to go for that way. Because of course, devs are thinking about the implementation part, POs about planning, Scrum or Agile, colleagues about how to support the teams to get better. And for quality aspects, I think it's something that we need to drive and think of ideas how to get better. One main point it's not, which is often mistaken, is the testing part, because I think the role itself is about prevention. Prevention that issues don't happen. If you just test, you just basically show what is already there. So the errors already have been implemented. So you are too late already. So you need to get before that. So right to the beginning, the start. And my best learning was that the issues already start on the customer side within the thoughts before something is written down. So if you think of a solution or a problem that you have and try to think of a solution, the issues can already happen here. This is basically the thing that I realized through the time. And as you've seen, the charts, I think the data is very valuable because in the past we had a lot of discussions like, quality is bad. What do you do? What do we want to do? What do we need to do? It was always like, okay, what can we do? And like discussions, okay, where can we improve, etc., etc. We didn't know where the problem is. It's just okay, customer said quality is not good enough, or we said something is not good enough. So in the end, if you try to gather the data, you have a tooling in place where you can visualize where your problems are. I think that's a very, very neat supportive tool to get used to that. And this is what I learned throughout time. That's basically, without KPIs, I cannot really decide where to go next. Yeah, regarding the title, from Bottleneck to Backbone. Back then I was a testing agent. I was just, yeah, the plus person. And it is something that helped me throughout the job to see, okay, I am not just part of it or just some puzzle part that's lying around to be added. I need to be in place. I need to be in front. I need to raise my voice to bring up the topics because no one else will do it usually. So it's be the part of the team, be together with the PO and Scrum Masters to be the alliance that pushes everything. And I'm part of that. I need to take the role. I need to be in place. Give it to the team. Also change my own mindset. At the beginning, I was totally happy to test. It was my thing. It was like, hey, I really like testing. Why do I need to change? But throughout time, with a new position, manager role, where everything now is more wider with more aspects, I needed to accept that I need to change myself. So I was looking for, okay, what can I do? What do I need to do, basically? And this is something that I realized throughout time. I need to change myself. Otherwise, I won't live the role like it could be lived. And also when it comes to escalations, if customers demanding again that quality is bad, don't be shy. Be proactive. Say, hey, to be honest, what are we discussing about? This is what I see. This is what our numbers are. This is what we are doing. And stand behind that. Be the team part of that. Say, no, the team is not the faulty thing here. It's something else. So try to figure it out. Be the person. Be there. Stand your ground. And that's really a thing to be a good QA in a team, I would say. Sounds all good. Are we there yet? It's basically a question to myself as a team. And I say, not really. There's always something to get better. Sometimes I see that we're still too customer driven. So customer comes up, says, yeah, this needs to be done now. We tend to shift into that area. So back again to the roots. Okay, customer says so, let's do it like how he said it. The thing is, be your own. There are improvements that we need to do also from our side. Devs need to have improvements to, I don't know, work better, new toolings, new helper classes, whatever. Something that is supporting us with implementation phase. But if you don't get room for that, you won't do it. So you won't be swamped with dev work that is just for the customer, but not for the project, where also we can contribute. Because in the end, it takes longer if you don't fit into that. Also, the probation mindset is not the best. Monitoring aspect is still some kind in the kids' shoes, so still to be improved there. Lot of things to recognize and also work for that. And still, issues can happen. Of course, we try to tackle them, but there are still, it's called Swiss cheese syndrome. Stuff is still going through to the life that where I would say we could have catched that, or our layer should have catched that, our security layer or quality layer should have catched that. Still, we didn't find it. Some things need to improve. So there's nothing perfect in that sense, but I think we're trying to be good at getting there. And the last point from that, key takeaways. I try to think about that to not be, I don't know, too much QA. And I think this is the best that I can share with you. What quality is not what quality is, but what quality is not. It's not a role. It's not that I'm here, and if I'm here, everything is good. That won't happen. It's about something that we as a team need to achieve. I'm just a trigger point, someone who activates the thinking about it. It's not up to me to do everything. I cannot do everything. Implementation is done by the team, planning is done by the PO, etc. Many roles, but I can at least trigger it. But it needs to be done by the team. Quality is not an activity. It's not something. So if you say, okay, testing is the quality part. No, it's not. Testing is just one activity in there. It's not everything. There are many aspects behind that, and testing alone will not raise your quality. I can assure that. It's not a task. So if you're implementing something, it's not something like, okay, I'm done now with implementing. Now let's think about the quality part. It doesn't work that way usually. So it should be thought of at the beginning or infused already with your thinking and working wise. So it's something that it needs to be in you. And as mentioned before, it's not one number, it's not a single number. So you cannot quantify quantity with one KPI. It's not possible. Always need to look at different aspects, figure out what to do next to improve, I don't know, which branch or which aspect. And in the end, I think it's a pretty good saying. Quality is a team habit, something that the team incorporates in how you work as a team, how you think, and how you act. And if it's there, it's really surprisingly hard to lose. That's my closing saying. Thank you very much.
I guess we should go to the Q&A part. Yes. Assume we don't need micro. I should move a bit so I can read.
Can you move a little bit in front that we are also on the camera?
Be on the camera.
Oh,
yes. Like this?
You need to put
yes, now.
It should be in the picture.
Firstly, I want to comment a bit shortly, like before your key takeaways, you said that like this changing of mindset where we stop thinking about is us versus them or me versus them. I think this is one of the like key switches also that happened in my career. This is a real game changer, I believe, when we really realize that we all work as one big team to deliver one big value. But let's go to the questions from our audience. So the first question is, what did you do when the customer confronted you with perceived quality? I assume the customer was not satisfied.
That's correct, yeah. The customer was not satisfied. So back then, it was, I think last year, the situation came up. It was like, okay, it seems to be that you have a problem with the quality. So let's talk about it. What are you thinking of? So I had my numbers, I had my statistics, I had my points to show, let's put it that way. I wanted to see what is the problem that you have. In the end, the discussion was really short because there were no arguments in the end. The customer said, okay, just a feeling that you're not doing as best as you can. And it was like, okay, what are we not doing? And I showed, okay, this is what we're doing. Those are the processes. Those are the ratings. Those are the KPIs. We are improving from trend perspective. Yes, maybe 1 or 2 points we can improve and we can work on that. We know that already because we see them already within our KPIs where everyone can have a look at. But in the end, this whole discussion was done basically in, I think, 1 hour, and customer said, okay, maybe I wasn't that unsatisfied in the end. But yeah, it helped a lot to have those numbers in place.
Thank you. Next question. Are you involved in requirement collecting, gaining, so requirement engineering phase with the customer?
Not always, but I try to be as early as possible. So story championing, which is basically a part that we do, I try to be there. So if the dev says, okay, I'm looking at it, I also try to give input. So if I see, okay, this is an area where I know quite a lot of special cases from the past and have knowledge behind, then I try to involve myself, of course. It's not possible every time because time, but it's a good thing. So if that's really the thing that QA is really involved in the beginning, this really helps a lot on the long run, because after implementation, of course, you can fix it, but basically you lost time already doing the right thing.
Are you involved in the story level or also front?
Usually it's story level. So when the story is written, so we get the raw story basically, where we as a team then try to get more details in it with our knowledge. We're looking into the code and stuff like that. So this is the phase. During specification before, we don't have that at the moment because we don't have that huge features from that perspective. But if necessary, I'm there at the early phase, definitely. Yeah.
Then the next one, you mentioned story championing. How is this different from story or sprint refinement?
I don't know how other people are doing, but usually we had the problem that doing story championing, everyone is there. Of course, it's a cool thing that everyone can give input, but in the end, it's a budget question. If you have 10 people in the meeting discussing about one thing or trying to figure out what it's about, you have half an hour times 10, which stacks up quite a lot in a short amount of time. Story championing is about getting 1 or 2 or 3 people in there, getting a deep look into the upfront, taking, I don't know, 1 or 2 hours or whatever it takes, and then share those insights within the refinement already, that other devs have already enough insights to think in the right direction already. So this is basically an efficiency process that we try to go for.
How do you usually incorporate security in your QA processes? Are the QA people responsible to ensure security or some other dedicated people, perhaps?
Depends. I mean, yes, I am responsible to show it, but I'm not a security expert. I need to say that. It's more about pointing at the point security, like, hey guys, please devs, did we think about that enough? What about GDPR? User data, don't send it around anywhere. Cross-site scripting, whatever. Easy stuff that needs to be thought about. Usually we as a team think about it and try to come up with a solution. But in the end, if no one raises the question during a refinement, I'm the one who said, hey, stop, please rethink about that step. But I'm not an expert, I need to say that.
Good, thank you. Then the next question, what is your tip for increasing quality as a habit in teams?
Time. I think one thing where I saw that had quite a lot of impact was to show the possibility for the devs to be involved. So back then, several years back, when we started with automation, because I didn't want to manually test all the time anymore, I was like the driver who showed, okay, guys, for example, the driver back then, please use it for the front-end tests because I don't want to click around all the time. Please, let's do the test to it. Funnily, Dev said, no, it's not my part, it's your part. I'm like, okay, I don't think so. You are implementing stuff. And it took quite some time to get it in there. But there was one point in time where one dev said, Nicholas, I need to say something now. I now use the WebDriver tests for a bug that I'm working on. I don't want to click throughout the checkout to the point where the actual issue is happening. I just let WebDriver do it. At this point in time, suddenly the whole process started and everyone was like, ooh, this helps me in some way or another. So this is something that you need to figure out how to trigger the team. So make it, I don't know, gamification or something. I think this is a good start. But also include the team. So those numbers that I'm gathering and trying to visualize what the status of quality is, share with the team. The team wants to see this in the end, even though they don't know it, but they want to see it because in the end, it's maybe something is triggering someone like, ooh, I don't like that. I want to improve that. That's a thing, but it takes time. But try it out, do some gamification. I think that helps best than just saying do it.
Like counting bugs after implementing a feature which was like really thoroughly tested, and
it's a bit harsh, yeah. Blaming someone is a bit harsh, but showing like, hey guys, we could have done better. We have 10 bugs in that area. Maybe something was wrong with the refinement or storage, whatever.
But, how do you cooperate with the Scrum Master?
Tim, what do you want to answer? Usually, so we have one-on-ones and also QA weeklies where we talk about current situations, current topics, current involvements, and together with the PO, so a 3-round PO, Scrum Master, and QA, where we three discuss what is happening at the moment, what are the pressing issues, what do we need to prioritize now? Is there something that from QA perspective needs to be higher prior than some new story or whatever? So this is something that works out pretty well. And I think that's the good start to openly talk together and be one team, basically.
Okay, thank you. What quality KPIs deliver the most value in your opinion? If you can generalize it.
I don't have a favorite. Most. I think one thing that I look at quite often is containment rates. So how good are our processes compared? So how many issues do we find before the live system? It's basically one big thing that we're looking at. A second thing is that I personally look at is I know story point is something that is not that's the best thing, but it's basically the thing that shows business value, and I connect it to a ratio, so bug ratio per delivered story point or defect ratio per delivered story point, because this basically shows, at least for me, if we are getting better at implementing the stories. So for example, in the past we had, I don't know, 1.5 bugs per story point. We now have 0.2. So it's quite a range difference. But of course, story points, I guess Scrum Masters can say more about that. It's not the best thing in some ways, but it's something that at least I can handle. Mm-hmm. So try to find stuff that is linked to business value.
Thank you. Do you think it's fully automated continuous delivery process necessary?
Depends on the situation, I would say. If you have easy front-end stuff, if there's easy, It would be cool to just have it implemented and then say, okay, ship it and don't do anything with it and just put it to live system. I would say it's the vision, but if it's really possible, I don't know, human factor is still there. I don't say that I want to test, but it's just I want to see what's happening maybe. But I would say it's a vision to get there, but we as a team, we are not in that range yet because of budget reasons mainly.
Thank you. KPIs again. How do you capture the data for the KPIs? How much effort is it?
It's the most asked question in the company itself. So my colleagues asking that. So yeah, of course, if you set it up, it takes quite some time. Well, 2 or 3 days if you go from 0 to nothing or from nothing to something. But I think it's worth the effort. Usually, if I do it manually, which I now do automatically with API fetching via Jira, so Jira can give you everything basically, most of it. Yeah, so the past now I do it partly manually plus automated because Jira gives me everything and just write a script that paints you nice charts. And other stuff that is not yet fetchable via automation, I do manually. So it's part. If you're doing it on a regular basis, it takes 10 minutes, 15 minutes per sprint. So not that much. If you, of course, do it once in a while, then it takes longer. That's what I can say. So it's not. I'm not sitting there days to gather KPIs. Definitely not. It's just a matter of minutes, in best case.
You do it on your own. You don't have a team who is.
So the KPIs that I'm working with, I fetch, or my script is fetching, and that's it.
Thank you. Would you say your role in QA has shifted to champion quality mindset in the dev team instead of being in charge of ensuring quality of the product?
Shifted to champion. That one saying about the quality role, if you do it right, you're not needed anymore. That's basically the highest peak you can have. So if I'm done, I'm not needed anymore. I don't know if that's possible, to be honest. For me personally, I think so. I'm trying to trigger or animate the colleagues to think on their own. Of course, I'm there to give input, to give my thoughts, etc. But in the end, what I realized now throughout the years is the more you let the team think about stuff, the more dynamic it appears. So you could say that I'm somehow trying to trigger the mindset of the team most of the time and not be the driver all the time behind every aspect of the product, because I think that my colleagues can do good enough. It's not just up to me to look at every point and every aspect. It's rather that I think about what can be improved in the future and where to trigger next. That's what I'm doing personally.
Thank you. Are all projects gathering similar? Are all project gathering similar KPIs, or it is something that you created for yourself?
So within the company, we have some core KPIs that every project has, because they are gathered via Jira, because every project has Jira nowadays. So those KPIs are the same, but me personally, I'm going a bit further and calculate some other stuff out of it, which Jira does not deliver you out of the box. I would say it's rather a maintenance thing, like bucket defect clustering, something that you need to maintain basically on your own. That's something that I'm going for myself, which I know that other teams don't do for many reasons.
We have 2 more questions and enough time. So the next one is, what is the status of the QAML in your project? Can you remind us what this is?
You have seen a screenshot. This is actually the real value that I showed you. So level 1, which is the mandatory level, basically. We are not there yet. Some tiny percentages are missing. So we are on a good path. but we're not there yet. But I think we're sustainably good in that direction. But after level 1, level 2 comes, and there is the next step to be done.
Good. And our last question: what would change if you are not part of the team and purely responsible to enable a team to do it themselves, and the devs fully own quality? I think it's rather similar.
So track factor, if I'm out, we will see. Next year it will happen. So after 13 years in the project, I will be not in there anymore. But I have a junior colleague that is now on customer side. So they staffed it internally that will take over that part. Let's see. I don't know yet. I would like to see it too, how much the track factor really is. I hope it's not that big, because I try to share everything and animate the colleagues, but let's see. I'm also curious about that. I will, if possible, I can inform you about that.
Keep in touch.